All right, says that we're live, but let's give it like a minute, see if people want to come in. There's always that minute awkwardness anytime you have a live stream where you just kind of like sit there and click
It's my favorite part.
and share
Dwayne
out.
Whitmer just followed me on Twitter. He's running for Erie County Comptroller.
That's cool. All right, so I'm gonna paste.
Oh, New York. What?
Tweet. Okay.
Fuck is that? All right.
Let me put the comments back up here. You guys ready to go? You still sharing stuff?
No,
Good to go.
Good to go. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Those who are tuning in live and those who are watching the recording. I'm Jacob Daniel. I'm here with my co-host Adam Nutter and Rob Coburn. This is the Take Human Action PA podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We haven't done a podcast in a while. We've just had a bunch of shit going on. We're all busy, but we decided to get together here tonight and talk a little bit about some current events and stuff that are going on. Before I get into any of that, I'll, we'll just shoot the shit a little bit though. So, Rob, what's new in your world? I haven't had a chance to talk to you in a while.
Oh man, just bird law, various other lawyerings.
I'm always fascinated with bird law and various other lawyerings.
And I'll keep going.
Oh, that's about it, man.
Yeah. And so, Adam, how was the Take Human bash in Virginia? Because I didn't get to go to that, but I heard it was a blast.
Fucking so much fun, dude. I fucking love the Mises Caucus people and everybody who just fucking rocks with us. Even if you're not Mises Caucus and you just fuck with us, you guys are awesome. Like everyone down there was like, dude. So it was like Robbie Bernstein, Lou Perez, and myself doing comedy, and it was fucking so much fun. Everybody there was there to fucking laugh. I made Tom Woods laugh, and that's awesome. I didn't get to meet him, but I did make him laugh. I looked at him in the audience. I was like, he's laughing. It's cool. So
has your erection subsided yet, or is it just still?
Dude, but making Dave laugh was better than anybody so far.
Yeah, right.
That was all college kids, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, no?
No. It was a mix of all. It was all ages.
Oh,
it was like a college event kind of thing. Yeah. But no, there were definitely college kids there, but they were like everyone that was there, and it was really a fucking good time. It's funny because like this is the one thing about like libertarian dudes is we're all fucking autistic or uncool. like everyone's like fucking, but like that's what makes us cool though. It's like because we're all like gay, like the fringe outliers, but everyone came up to me after the show and was like, just. We had like so many good conversations. So I was like, thanks for everybody for coming out and fucking rocking with that party. All you idiots, fucking socially awkward dummies. That is the Libertarian Party.
Yeah. What's the saying? Fiscally conservative and socially awkward. Right.
Holy shit, dude. I feel like sometimes I'm like, am I the only one to ever speak to a person in public before when I talk to them? Like, this is wild.
Yeah. Or, sometimes, especially I notice in our libertarian circles, it's not even just people, but sometimes they're really bad at like just trying to talk to like people who aren't like them. Like, oh my gosh, there's an Hispanic person. How do I talk to Hispanic people? How do I talk to black? You know what I mean? It's just like, or libertarian, certain libertarian men who've probably not had more than their mom as far as female interactions go.
Hey, I don't want to blow up any spots, so I won't name names. But man, did I see some dude trying to fuck on Saturday night.
Did you get their number?
Well, no, we fucked. I mean, of course, that's okay. Yeah. It's not cheating if I fuck a dude. My wife said that.
I'll have to ask my wife if that rule applies in our marriage or not. I don't know.
Dude, she's got to get her laws off your body.
Right, yeah.
And if she gives me shit, I go, Rob's my lawyer, so you talk to him.
Oh, gosh. So I think I haven't had a chance to watch the full debate, and I don't think you've had a chance at all.
But I don't watch any of it yet.
But Rob, you got a chance to watch the whole takedown, the laser eyes and destruction of Bill Kristol by Scott Horton?
Oh, it was so perfect that I'm still in bewilderment. I didn't take in all of it, but Scott Horton, the way that he presents his case, I mean, you can't touch it. I don't know if this guy knew anything about him before. Like, he apparently didn't do his research. He just got up there and started spitting the regular. Well, what if we didn't? What if we didn't? Think of all the things that didn't happen. And Scott's like, well, this led to this. This led to, and he just decimated him. And this guy, he didn't even know where he was at by the end of it.
Well, part of the reason I didn't feel a need to either go attend a live event, or I haven't, I've watched some of it, but I haven't had the overwhelming need to go watch it, was I feel like I already knew what was going to happen. It was just oh, what, that lion's going after that gazelle? Okay, the gazelle's dead. I don't necessarily need to. I'll just show up later and watch the screenshots of what happened. I don't.
Scott Horton just teabagging Bill Kristol.
Yeah, right.
Well, what I love about Scott Horton is he's so, it's completely factual. He doesn't have to argue, why something is a good thing, or why something, is the right decision. He says, this is the factual situation. What are you going to do? I saw him at Pork Fest, and he just went from 83, I'm sorry, 53 when we installed the Shaw, up to line by line when he leading up to 9/11, like act by act, and it was the most it was so dizzying to follow, and emotionally tolling, and then see him just spit that on somebody else was a treat as well.
What were the what was the ebb and flow, if you want to get into more detail of the debate, as far as the major points?
Just Afghanistan, or
the resolution was something I can't remember exactly. It was something along the lines of American foreign policy, spreading democracy, or installing and overthrowing dictators or leaders is a good thing for America, or something like that.
Okay.
And Bill Kristol argued for it, and it
make the world safe for democracy.
Right, right, and I don't know, I'm blanking right now because it was so much, but
it's after you have it's after you have really good sex and you're just speechless afterwards. You're just wow.
Yeah, I need a minute.
But it is kind of funny to go. It does go to show you the arrogance of all these old school politician guys, guys like Bill Kristol, who are like, I'm not going to do my research on who the fuck Scott Horton is, because he's like, I'm Bill Kristol. I ran for fucking vice president, whatever the fuck he's going to say he did. And then he's going to go in there with what he thinks is his big dick, and Scott Horton's like, I'll show you what a big dick is. Hold on. Give me a minute.
Well, and then Scott's just reading from his own quotes to him, completely counter to the shit that he's arguing at the time, and it was beating a weak, helpless little child. So,
was anyone in the audience cheering on Bill Kristol's points?
No, not really. Okay. And the commentator didn't ask him one question. Everything was directed at Scott.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it done other the debates they do at the Soho Forum, where they have they poll everybody beforehand what their position is and then pull them afterwards?
Yeah, I believe it did. I didn't actually see the end, but
okay. I was even curious to be was there enough? Were they able to find enough neocons to put in the audience so it wasn't completely stacked?
I was gonna say 100% Scott Horton, white.
Well, I don't know.
Even Bill Kristol actually has some good points.
I would feel Scott could have lost the debate just by that alone, because he could have come in and 100% of the people could have voted yes, and one person actually goes to the bathroom, isn't there for the vote, and he loses the vote, and it's oh, you lost.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was kind of unfair to Bill Kristol, because who's coming to the Soho Forum who's going to be on the side of imperialistic foreign policy?
No, but again, that goes to my other point of they don't have followers, they don't have support. These people don't have real support, real life support. What I'm saying, like Scott Horton, because most people are truly anti-war. Yeah. We're only lunatics, or people who are making money for it are really true war. You know what I'm saying? So of course he's not gonna have a fucking slew of people yeah, bomb more children. No one's gonna be doing that willingly. Of course.
No, but it's I'm anti-war, but we need the biggest military possible and all of our guns pointed at half the world constantly at all times. It's like, it's like, I love my wife. I just feel like I have to threaten her every day that if she leaves, I'll hunt her down and kill her.
Yeah, she just has to be tied to a bed
Right.
constantly for my and her protection.
That's what my mom taught me.
Right. Any good parent would.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what I mean. Did Bill come up with any original arguments, or was it just like normal neocon like BS? Like,
I'm trying to remember. It'll come back to me, but
Can we watch? I guess we can't. I would have been work ahead of time. I said we should pull it up and just kind of go through some of it.
That'd be fun, but yeah, I'd have to upload the video, and I didn't do that. But
it was like 2.5 hours, and I would say after opening statements was basically like everything was already like proven at that point. There was nothing like he could do to come back after that. But
I just don't know how anyone could argue that the war against terrorism in the Middle East has produced any good outcomes anywhere.
Well,
because dummies go, well, they stopped terrorist attacks. That's what they say.
Yeah. Well,
that's the answer, right? Isn't like
they even if I was going to be really, really charitable here, like you stopped terrorist attacks from the Middle East by initiating 10 times more terrorist attacks from the United States government onto the American population.
They don't see it that way.
No. Well, that was what getting to.
What?
Sorry about that. Something just popped up. I couldn't hear you. But that's what I was trying to get to. What I was saying
all those
about
ads from watching porn aren't good, Rob.
I was just gonna say, turn your grinder off. Let's go.
Dude, I don't know what porn that I star in. Bill Kristol was just arguing, unprovable points of what would have happened if we didn't. So it's not even a position that you can prove. So it's think about what we, what if we didn't go in, and yeah, there might not have been anything actually there, but like, what if we didn't go in?
It's such a dumb. It's not even an argument. The whole what if? It's like, okay, well, we can't know exactly what if anything, but we do know what we didn't do shit. Like we pulled out of Afghanistan, and are they better off than they were 20 years ago?
I heard Marvel was gonna write their 7th What If series about this. what if we didn't go to Afghanistan?
Oh my god! But it's just, I don't know. I know a lot of people on the right have been saying for a while that more conservatives are getting a bit more like, their eyes open to how much of a crock of shit they've been sold for the last 20 years, and like I hope it's true. But the fact that there's anyone at all in the mainstream who's still arguing for the war on terror, you still have people on the left who are arguing, like even someone who I used to think was really based, like Tulsi Gabbard, then kind of does a full 180 and is kind of like, oh, well, I'm against wars that we fight that are benefiting terrorists, but I'm still okay with regime changes and fighting actual terrorists.
Yeah.
And it's just it's just like, I feel like some people are like, okay, well, these wars were not the best, but they haven't given up on the entire principle and like the general idea that in general, it's a good thing. They're just like, okay, well, these ones just didn't work out because, XYZ reason.
Yeah. And the most discouraging thing about Tulsi was she was a military, right?
Yeah.
Correct? And she, what was it? She said the other day that it was still radical Muslim jihadists that is responsible for, and they just hate us because we're free, but we shouldn't go and spend the money, but they hate us because we're free, and that was pretty discouraging here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I'm so tired of like, listen, if like I'm a Christian, so I have some feelings about the religion of Islam, but like if the religion of Islam made people fundamentally like more violent, there's what, like 21 billion Muslims or something on this planet. Like, I mean, there's a lot of Muslims, and if they were even if 50% of them,
21 billion of 8 billion people,
or sorry, 21 million. Sorry, not billion. I forget the exact number.
I was like, wow, they really multiplied.
But they're just, I mean, there's a lot. Like, my point is just that there's a lot of Muslims on the planet. Like, and I think it's technically one of the largest religions on the planet.
Top 3.
Yeah. So, like, if they were just fundamentally like what's the word I'm looking for here? Like pre opposed to predisposed to initiating violence and being jihadists and being terrorists, like we'd be fucking screwed. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, as like, I don't know, like I feel like, you know, think about how much, and I'm not really trying to make this about immigration, but like think about how much people on the right get very like, you know, defensive about like their homeland, about the nation of America and like, you know, whatnot, with the idea of like just people who want to cross the border, you know, into our country. And they call that like an invasion. And that like Trump was able to use that to kind of like a, yeah, and use that as like a populist thing to like to rally a lot of support because people were very like, okay, but like those are just people coming over here. Imagine if another country had a bunch of freaking military bases in our land and had done a bunch of regime changes and periodically, you know, dropped bombs, like, you know, like randomly, oh, we were going after these bad guys and we accidentally dropped a bomb on a hospital. Like, you know what I mean? I imagine that happening for decades and what that would do to any people in any culture. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not someone who believes that all cultures and all religions are equal. Like, clearly you can have better or worse cultures, but like, you don't make cultures better by like bombing the shit out of them.
No, never one time has that worked.
Well,
Actually,
the immigration thing on the right is a strange thing too, because up until you know until whatever the hell happened there with Trump, the really only populist message that was acceptable on the right was that immigration issue, that you know, they took our jobs type thing. But that was the only populist message that had been going on for so long, and it is a strange, you know, it seems so disconnected from why it's so fervent. I still don't understand why it, you know, that's the right thing. But
Yeah, I mean, I've always felt, I mean, like within the Mises Caucus, within the Libertarian Party movement, there's different opinions on immigration.
yeah.
But like the respectable arguments about why people aren't for totally open borders are not the arguments like they're coming to take our jobs, or like
Right.
the people who are like, well, I
It's
even
not
think
based
it's
on
a weak
property
argument.
rights.
I even think it's a weak argument to say, oh, well, we can't have welfare and open borders. Like, I feel like the stronger arguments are just like,
Mm,
hey, like if you let, I mean, that one's a little bit better, but I feel like the more legitimate concerns are the ones about like culture and just that, like, if you have a government monopoly over borders, whether they're letting people in or restricting them, it's still not an actual, like, even close to what the free market would do as far as like regulating the movement of people based upon the norms of private property rights. So like no matter what, it's a poor, like whether you're trying to make a closed border system work or an open border system work, it's not truly libertarian. All you have are, it's kind of like what Thomas Sowell said once, where it's like all you have are trade-offs. That's basically like, while the state exists, all we have with the immigration issue is trade-offs, I think. Like, you're never gonna, like, while the state exists, you can't really have a perfect libertarian system of immigration, because there's always going to be like, there's always going to be some form of violation of property
mhm.
rights, no matter how it's
Right.
handled.
Well, yeah. Why is it that the immigration issue is so hard? Well, first, like, we're never, the perfect libertarian world is never going to be achieved. But what it is the goal to continue to strive for, right? So then you balance is if you have you know, the welfare state while you have open borders, does that I don't know, it seems like there's got to be a balance. Is that more or less you know, intrusive to have open borders um, when you have the welfare state compared to it if you close it? Is that more intrusive? Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, because I feel like the biggest reason why I'm for, why I think open borders is a better trade-off, is because I think, like, from an Austrian economic perspective, you need the free movement of labor, people, and goods to make a free market work.
Right.
Obviously, that doesn't mean open borders is perfect. I just feel like the issues there are less severe,
Yeah.
and I've always kind of felt like, you know, you can't have open borders in a welfare state. Well, we don't really have open borders right now. We have not totally closed borders, and it's kind of a false dichotomy, because it's like a true closed border would be like no one would get in.
Hmm.
A true open border would be like everybody can come and go and there's no regulation. But there's actually like almost an infinite amount of conceivable positions between totally closed and totally open. And you can kind of try to fine tune like a mixture of, laws, regulations, how you enforce it. I'm personally, of course, more for decentralization. If we could maybe, decentralize the movement of people from a, something where the federal government is patrolling the border to something where individual states have more of a say over the movement of people to and from their state, I feel like that would be a better system than what we have now. But that seems a little bit far down the road at the moment. But
Sure. Yeah. Well, is the infringement on your property from the taxes that are going to be given to these people from entitlements more of an infringement than the denying them the ability of free movement? You know what I mean? I think that's where the tough thing comes down to, and I don't know really how to weigh that.
Well, it comes down to personal versus
right.
everyone else, right?
Right.
Putting your own shit before other people, and that just comes down to the individual.
I mean, I think we can all agree the solution is you neither regulate welfare or the border, and you put it all back to private property. But which is why we should strive to that goal. But
what Mises told Hayek was basically like, because Hayek used to be kind of more of a socialist, but he was for open borders. But what Mises kind of the critique there was like, well, socialism can't have open borders because it would be unsustainable, it would completely collapse. And that's why people don't realize, like, guys like Bernie Sanders and even like look at the left now. It's not like they criticize Trump like crazy for the border policies, but have they changed anything? No, because it's all theater to them. It's easy to paint Trump and right wingers as a racist for the way that they go about the immigration thing. But the truth is, the left knows like they can't have totally open borders because like it would be economically unsustainable even with the system we have now. So they're incentivized to actually, I think, have a system of chaos. And I think that's what, like, the state is an agent of chaos, and they want to take advantage of the system to where they can paint the narrative to any way they want it.
We just watched horses chase down black people at the border under Joe Biden's America. Just for the record, it wasn't under Trump.
I mean, Joe's got such a great track record for dealing with the minority communities.
And where are the leftists calling Biden out? I mean, like, they exist, but they are such a small minority right now.
I've said this before, but like, I am truly just fucking fed up with more than half the people I know, especially other comics and other lefty friends of mine who, like, all they did every day for 4 years, I watched on social media, be like, fucking Trump, and then Biden's doing little worse shit, and I haven't heard a fucking word from them. Like, you guys are fucking cowards, dude. You guys are legitimate fucking cowards. Like, you guys don't have any moral. Actually, no, it's not even that. They're fucking they're dumb. They're dumb. Like, I'm over the whole like everybody is on their own. No. They're fucking dumb. They're dumb. And I hate saying this word, but they are sheepy in a way where all they do is they hear they're drones. They hear one person, they go, that's what I'm supposed to believe in. They haven't read a fucking book. They haven't read a fucking article. They haven't watched about any of this shit. Any of it. They just repeat the talking points of fucking some douchebag on CNN who fucks his brother or whatever the fuck. It's fucking psychotic. Our friends are dumb.
As like just vigorously infuriating as their like cognitive dissonance and refusal to understand their own position can be. I genuinely like most people on the left, but where I was actually like personally let down by the just refusal to acknowledge that Joe Biden was single-handedly ushered in minimum mandatory sentencing in the 90s, as though like we'll just forgive him on that one. No, he's probably changed. While there's still people sitting in jail that were in from back then, and this was like during the height of the George Floyd thing going on, and they were just like, oh, well, we'll give him a pass. That one really.
They'll never. It doesn't matter. We're literally just preaching to the choir because like it's they'll never ever admit it. They'll never ever be like walk it back. Never. It doesn't matter. So it's like we know. We all know. Everyone listening to this podcast knows, right? We're just jerking each other off at this point. It's like we're not the problem. I wish, right? It'd be way more fun. We're not the fucking problem. We're just not. It's them. They're the fucking issue. So it's like, and if they don't ever want to even meet us halfway and be like, oh yeah, you know what? Fuck, we fucked. It's not that. They just double down. They go harder.
They're not interested in. They're not interested in learning. They're interested in just developing their own echo chambers. And like, I come from the left, so like, I'm saddened to say that. But like, I often feel like I didn't leave the left left me. And I know that's kind of cliche, but like, I honestly feel like that's what happened, because like, I mean, I was a lefty when I was young, came out of high school, and I got into Bernie Sanders, during the 2014, 2015. But then like, when Bernie lost the primary, which like, we all saw what happened and how corrupt that primary and that
literally
whole
took a
election
buyout.
yeah. And then we were like, okay, well, I guess we got to support Hillary Clinton now. And I was like, wait, what? Like, we just spent the last like year and a half trash talking her and talking about how awful she is.
Yeah.
And now we're supporting her. And I couldn't get my mind around it, but it was just like, orange man bad, Jacob, orange man bad. And like, I bought into it reluctantly. But then after 6 months of Trump, I was like, wait, I don't really like him, but none of the shit they're saying about him is right. And then I was like, it's just like, I could tell there was something wrong, but I was always willing to hear other perspectives and to learn. And most of the people on the left aren't. They're just they're interested in their own echo chambers and engaging in like the virtue signaling about like, oh, look how woke I am. Look how for LGBT rights I am. Look how for minority rights I am. And it's just like, okay, but like, there's nothing intellectually deep to your ideology when all it is a like ad nauseum repetition of talking points about how virtuous you are, while you don't actually engage with reality in like learning about economics, learning about like cause and effect. And it's all high time preference. It's just, dude,
like go look what a fucking lefty leaves as a tip for at a restaurant, and you fucking tell me who's more fucking caring about people. All right, it's us. I fucking overtip like a psychopath. And I go at my fucking far lefty friends and I look at the fucking tip they leave. I'm like, this is $5 at a fucking $70. I'm not kidding. They're all cheap fucks, but they all will preach about how like minimum wage laws need to be $100 an hour, but they leave $5 tips. And I'll be like, hold on, here's another fucking 20, you piece of shit. It's like they're all like that, all of them.
Well, this is something that Bastiat talked about in the law a little bit, and not a lot of people talk about Bastiat. I personally love him, but he said that the difficult thing about competing with socialists is they use these emotional allogisms, these one-liners that are so seemingly coherent and valid on the surface, like public school is good, but it sounds like it's such an easy thing, and then to actually show why public school is not is a multifaceted and deep issue that you can't just rebut with these one-liners that they have, and this is the trouble that we have going up against the those that cater to the emotional proclivities of our humanity, is that they say one thing and it sounds like, oh yeah, we should do that, and then to actually show why, well, actually, if you do that, it's going to make it worse, it's a thing that you have to go through a first year course, master's in economics and public policy before you can even understand it,
or just like a week.
Yeah.
If you learn a little bit of economic literacy can go a long way, but they're just not interested in that.
But when you need to combat, support our teachers with actually, you can't. Nobody's going to stand there for a week so you can explain it.
Someone on Biden's team put out a Facebook post on his behalf, like coming from him, being like something about the tax thing, right? And I went, wow, this guy. I'm like, Jesus, this guy sucks, and then one of my super woke lefty female friends commented under that. She's like, why does he suck? Because he wants to tax the rich. And I went, yeah. Yeah, kind of. And then, and then she wrote under that, like, this whole thing about, no, like, I get that, it sucks to pay taxes, but it goes to public schools and hospitals, and that's a good thing, and like it's a necessary evil. And I just went, hold on, boom, and like hit this fucking giant paragraph of like, no, actually, your tax dollars go to bomb that van of children they just bombed. I go, that's where I went. Are you okay with that for the school here? So you're okay with bombing those school children for our school children? What's the trade-off? Because they're white, or because they're brown, not white, or whatever, or because they're not American. What's the deal? So it's like this whole thing. I go, it's not. First of all, necessary evils don't exist. They're just evils. There's evils and goods. The necessary evils don't exist. I'm sorry. That's fucking stupid. Okay. So like, no, taxes are evil. Taking our money is evil. Taking the money that you work for is evil. My money that I work for going to bomb a van full of school children is fucking the most evil. And I'm like, also, public schools are disgusting. They don't work. Public hospitals are trash. I go private. I've wrote also in paragraph like time and time again, private companies have shown.
Can we talk about public schools? Are we gonna?
Yeah, we can.
Well, I wanted to say before we move on to that is like I feel like part of the problem here, and this is something Jordan Peterson pointed out a lot. The problem on the left is that they don't actually care about poor people; they just hate the rich.
Yes,
and they disguise it as caring about poor people. The problem on the right, and I'm very sympathetic to this problem, but the problem is they often get trapped into hating the left more than they care about loving and advocating for liberty. It's like they identify through reactionary anti-left than like being for what is right. And like there are a lot of times where loving liberty does naturally make you anti-left, but if you kind of define yourself by being a counterfactual, you're going to end up kind of like being in that unprincipled area where you're like what you talked about, Adam, like you're justifying necessary evils or like kind of engaging in a counter, because the left is all high time preference, but the right has fallen into a lot of like counter high time preference strategy. And that's why every election is the most important election of our lifetime. And it's always like, we see some of these libertarians that were the Mises circles now going back to the GOP route because they're just like, oh, well, the left's so bad and the COVID regime was also bad. And like, we just, it's like jerk off to DeSantis and we gotta, stop them like right now. And I'm like, listen, I get it. And the stuff that's happening right now sucks and it should be opposed. But like, have you forgotten like the entire history of the GOP?
Well,
and how and what they do to every time the liberty movement tries to enter the GOP, how we get spit back out.
Yeah. So you mentioned two things now why I think it was real kind of topical to something we were talking about before we got on here was the left's inability to I can't remember how you said it, but like how like
they hate the rich. They don't actually care for the poor or
something. Yeah. Well, I'll tie it into what you do now, but the right shit. What the hell is it?
Here, while Rob thinks about it, think about it, because I'll say what I want to say real quick. Think about it. No, like this is why the left pisses me off more than the right, though, because they're so wild in their thoughts and ideas. They're so just not functioning. It's kind of like if I'll bring it to like my own relationship with my wife, right? Like sometimes my wife will say something so fucking wildly stupid to me, like an idea or like a thought, and not because she's a chick, just because that's who my wife is, right? Where I'll be like, what? Like you just get it's like a reaction of like anger almost, where it's like, that's the dumbest fucking shit I've ever, like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean give hormone blockers to children? You know what I'm saying? It's like this, it's like this incendiary reaction you have in your chest and stomach that's just automatically like,
why do you hate trans people, Adam?
Right, exactly.
that's their only response. Exactly. It's just like, you're transphobic. It's like, no, I just like I care about protecting children.
Yeah, I don't think children should be hurt. Sorry, I'm an asshole. It's the same thing with the whole sports thing, right? Where it's like, oh, you hate trans people. Like, no, I don't want to see a woman get beat to death in a cage by someone who still has the muscles of a man. Like, right. It doesn't matter if because this is the left loves science so much. Let's talk science. I mean, it doesn't matter if you transition or whatever. That's fine. You still have the muscles and the bone structure. No matter how much estrogen you take, you still have that as a dude. So it's like so now you're just hitting a chick. Like, what are we talking about here? It's fucking crazy. Like, it's like protecting women.
there's a huge tragedy that comes out of this trans activist movement that nobody really talks about. But I have a lot of friends who were trans and have transitioned. I went to a pretty performing arts school, so I was like one of like 10 straight guys in the whole school. But I've like seen and been watched people go through this process a lot, and the community like pressure and the acknowledgement that they give you to force you to get into doing, like, to transition, to go all the way to do it. They can use you as an example of look what's happening, more people are doing it. But the second that you know it's over and you've transitioned and they can't like prop you up anymore, they just like throw these people away and they don't acknowledge them anymore.
Oh
And
yeah.
like,
I've actually
it's so devastating, like how much they use these issues that most of the advocates aren't even like a member of, of that thing, but they use it as a means for um, uh, emotional leverage in a political arena.
And but the thing is, a lot of the people in those like marginalized groups, they see through that shit. And like the left acts like they have the like 100% like the full representational voice for these people in these different groups. But actually there's a lot of people in those groups that like, no, I don't actually like that you're like weaponizing me and my group to further
Yeah,
your causes. Because like,
yeah,
it's like I've met
yeah,
plenty of trans people who actually aren't these fragile snowflakes who need you to
Same.
like completely conform to their worldview. Just like
yeah,
I'm a Christian, but I'm not a fragile snowflake when I like talk
yeah,
to someone who's an atheist who has different beliefs than me.
No, it
Most
is,
people,
dude.
yeah,
It's just liberal white people. They're
yeah,
the advocates.
well,
yeah.
no, man,
That's it.
it's something very more specific than that. It's the neo-Marxist attitude of hijacking the the compassionate viewpoint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weaponized. It's like weaponizing people's empathy and compassion, so to
Right.
Hey,
speak.
Joe Bissell brought up a good point about the minimum wage laws before that.
Yeah, I was gonna put that up.
He told me this before one time, and I don't remember like what the loophole like it was, like how they were fucking over special needs people with the law. I forgot it, but he told me it was like really fucked up. I wish, Joe, if you're listening still, write that in.
Well, you can. I've talked to Thomas Quieter up in New York, who's a
I
libertarian
call him Quitter,
candidate.
but that's not his
Quitter,
name.
yeah, but he talks a lot about this stuff and just like how the
You
state
know,
is not actually good for people who suffer from disabilities and things, and it
right.
makes them worse. And he had to get people to help like use like crowdfunding and stuff to get like a scooter and to get like all the things he needs to like get around and function with his
Yeah.
disability. The state didn't help him out with any of that.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not familiar with specifically the special needs argument of the minimum wage. Does
Yeah,
anybody?
no. Yeah, Joe told me one time. It was really. I was like, God damn it! I wish I could fucking remember. I think it was something like they were paying them like literally nothing, like whatever they wanted to, like people. I think that was kind of the super bare bones of it. I'm definitely leaving out the whole thing, but that was pretty much the bare bones
Yeah.
of it. But like, I don't. Joe will probably write it in. But yeah. When he does, I'm sure we'll pop it up.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the minimum wage laws are detrimental to those who it is designed to help. I mean, that was Walter Williams' argument.
well, Thomas Sowell saw that too, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, but Walter Williams just did it masterfully in the
Yeah.
state against blacks, and he demonstrated how it keeps the most unskilled and uneducated people out of the job market. So I'm trying to think of how that relates to the special needs aspect, and I'm having a loss at how if in what way it's different. But
I don't know, but I do know minimum wage laws definitely hurt young people, and I'm 100 like people got so triggered when New Hampshire just stated the libertarian position, but I'll state it again: end child labor laws and let young people, but with their parents' involvement. Like I'm not saying like, hey, I want a 5-year-old working in a coal mine, but like with
I do.
the parent
Get to work.
No.
You're
The
Stop
5-year-olds
slacking.
are much better at picking the cotton. No.
yeah,
They're
well,
the little hands.
They're shorter.
I
They have little
actually-
delicate hands.
I actually
But-
wrote an article right after the New Hampshire child labor tweet, and I never got to release it because, like, right as I was finishing up with it, the rest of the New Hampshire debacle happened, so it kind of got pushed by the wayside. But like, my point was in it, like, schools are labor institutions in themselves. They have all of the attributes of it. That they have um, um, uh, strict behavioral requirements, productivity expectations.
Yeah,
Um,
but you don't get paid.
right, and you don't
And you
get
don't learn as
paid.
much, and you don't
Yeah,
learn as much as if, like, hey, if you're 14 and you start working at a trade,
yeah,
you'll get paid,
right,
even if it's like below
right.
like $4 an hour. What 14-year-old wouldn't be like $4 an hour? Hell yeah, I'll
Yeah,
take that. And then they actually learn something and get
yeah,
productive and get actual life skills. Like, if you're against that, if you think it's better to keep your kids in these freaking public indoctrination prisons
yeah,
where they get freaking brainwashed and propagandized and basically get put out into the world completely neutered, completely unability to compete in the marketplace unless they go and get themselves into mountains of debt in some
yeah.
post-secondary educational system, that even after how many people have degrees that they don't even work in a career that they got a degree for? Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to defend this system, I mean, good fucking luck.
I have 4 that I don't use.
I mean, it's just like I don't know how many people have like gone back
Mm.
to school and back to school and back to
Well,
school and keep getting one degree after another, and it's just like, and like people are talking about like there's no jobs. It's like, well, no, there's jobs. They're just not the fluffy jobs that you want.
mm,
You want your dream job because you've been
Mhm.
sold this, bullshit idea
yeah.
of America where it should be like, just
Well,
do whatever you want, do whatever makes you feel happy, and you should be able to get paid $100,000 a year for it and live
right.
completely comfortable. And it's like, no, that's not how life works. And if
Well,
that makes you feel bad, like, tough luck. Like, life doesn't exist to cater to your preconceived notions about what should be and what is fair.
mhm. I think as well that the minimum wage thing seems so attractive to some people because we've lost our connection with with value due to our um, uh, our measurement of everything in dollars and not in real assets and valuable things.
No, yeah.
But the chase for more dollar bills has completely blinded people to where they're coming from, what happens when you infuse more dollars, and the consequences from basing everything on the fiat system is that we've lost our connection with the meaning of value in things.
Well, and we've incentivized people to view economic success as being solely like, how
Right,
much can you consume?
right,
When
right,
really, as the Austrians have pointed out, one of the true marks of a healthy economy, like, first and foremost, is how much can people save. And like, it's through savings that a true economy actually is built upon and thrives. Like, yes, a
but the
good
inflationary
economy,
dollar
a good,
disincentivizes it.
like, Jeff Dice talked about this in a recent podcast I listened to. He's like, yeah, a good economy is going to have like high spending, but you can't put the cart before the horse. The high spending should come after the high savings. If you have high spending and low savings, guess what? It's all on debt. It's all
Right,
on fiat, and it's unsustainable. And it's exactly what we're freaking stuck in right now.
right, right.
So
Well, well, the the nope, lost it again. Sorry,
Are you
well, I
on
mean,
mushrooms? What are you doing?
dude. I've been up for way too long, and
This is
dude,
how I am when I take shrooms. I'm like,
dude, Adam,
no,
after you left Grant's place last time, me and Rob and Grant were up talking till past 3 o'clock in the morning. And then like we
yeah.
were still talking, and then like I think 4 o'clock set in, and I was like, I'm gonna go to bed. And Rob was like, oh cool, I'm gonna go drive home. And I was like, dude, you're fucking crazy.
dude, you're fucking lunatic.
I was like, are you running to the
Mm.
bathroom and like shooting up speed when nobody's looking? What are you
freebasing fucking crack?
Yeah.
just like,
Well,
hey, you gotta give me a second.
Wow,
He's
it's
like, I
paying
love
me
the
too
dredge
much.
in my throat. It's like doing coke twice.
One thing, we got about 15 minutes left, and one thing I also wanted to, kind of like a piece of my mind a little here at the end that I have personal reasons to want to bitch about tonight is more about the COVID regime and just the
Mm.
the nonsense that like I can't believe that there's still people out there who are justifying mandates and lockdowns and the status quo that we're living in. I mean, like my father's in the hospital with COVID. I'm not some lunatic who's like COVID's a conspiracy and it's all the 5G radio waves and the microwaves and
Yeah,
the,
that causes
you
cancer.
know,
We all know that.
right, yeah. Like, you know, I've had COVID. My dad has COVID. Like, I believe it exists. I believe it's a man-made virus, not a. It didn't jump from fucking bats. I mean, I think
Hey,
that's become
real quick. And I want to make this a bit, kind of, but like, I don't think anything comes from animal. Like, it's a bullshit. Like nothing, no diseases come from an animal. It's fucking stupid nonsense. Like, no way that it's true. Like AIDS. Like, someone fucked a monkey. I'm like, yeah. Did they? I'm sure they did, but like, no, for sure. No, hold on. I take that back. 100% someone fucked a monkey before.
right.
But I don't think 100%. I'll put everything I own on it. But no way did that cause AIDS. Like, I don't believe that shit. Like, I just don't. Like, I think it's all bullshit. Like, I don't think we're getting fucking these diseases from animals like that. Like certain things, right? Like hoof and mouth and shit like that. But like all this crazy shit that's like, you know, like completely destroys your immune system. I'm like, I don't know, man. That doesn't sound
Some
right.
of these viruses seem very hyper engineered.
Yes.
To be way too engineered to
like
come from nature.
AIDS was so
weird.
very specifically, you know,
towards a certain
towards
community.
gay, black people.
Almost like they were trying to eradicate them or something.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, but like, my
And
father's
it's not like we have a. It's not like we have a social security issue or anything like that. It's not like we need to get rid of a whole bunch.
Oh yeah,
Right.
believe me.
You know what they used to call AIDS before they went PC with AIDS? This is true. They used to call it GRID, which stood for gay-related immune disease.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like one of the things that is really pissing me off right now is that like, you know, people want to talk about like trust the science. It's like, okay, let's get some science in here. You know what? One of the most important things to overcoming a hardship of any type is, whether it's psychological burden, whether it's you're ill and you're trying to get better, it's your mental health, and it's having a support system. And I kind of remember like when I was in science class in high school, we did these experiments where like with flowers, and it's like if you subjected flowers to complete isolation versus they were like exposed to more things, the flowers in the isolation like basically like wouldn't grow. Like they'd still grow, but they grew like at a significantly slower rate, and they weren't as bright. They didn't thrive as much as the flowers grown that were like around other flowers and exposed to all these things. And it's like, so that's fucking plants, and like they're really simple compared to humans. Putting people in hospitals and locking their loved ones away from them and making them go through, you know, whether it's COVID, whether it's pregnancy, whether it's you're fighting cancer, whatever, and making them be isolated from the people around them. If you support that fucking evil shit that's been being pushed on people for the last year and a half, like I have nothing to say but fuck you. And we are not just having a civil disagreement over politics. Like, no, you're justifying the initiation of force and evil. And like people talk about COVID being so deadly because, well, look at the surplus amount of people that died over the past year. I'm like, listen, correlation doesn't equal causation. So like we don't know the exact thing, and I'm sure COVID played a part in it. But you're gonna tell me that locking people in their homes, that raising all these tensions, raising all this fear, and isolating people had nothing to do with it?
Yeah.
Dude, a close co-worker of my wife. She's older, this woman, but she's very close to my wife. And today she found out that she has breast cancer because 2 years ago she was supposed to go for her regular mammogram routine, but because of COVID, they said nah.
Right.
So now she has cancer.
I was in at the Mises Institute Support Summit last year at Jekyll Island, and Tom Woods did his the great speech.
Yeah, it's a great speech.
The COVID was it the COVID? The COVID.
I forget what it was called, but I know what speech you're talking about.
He ran through the projected statistics, like from medical peer-reviewed projections of this is how many people are going to the unseen consequences, the long term because of COVID precaution measures. This many people are going to attempt suicide over how many last year. This is how many people are going to have undiagnosed cancer. This is how many children are going to die of starvation. And when you ran through the numbers and you just saw like the magnitude of the effects that piled up compared to even the numbers that we were seeing at the time from COVID, and now that we know, like they pale in comparison to the consequences from this. And we haven't even really begun to feel the economic burden that this is going to have, because we've been propping it up with the trillions of borrowed money. And
Rob, it's free. Have you heard? It costs nothing. I don't know if you heard that.
Well,
I
don't know. After this experiment with the COVID relief funds, can we finally put universal income to bed because everyone just stopped working?
Yeah, right. Another lefty bullshit thing. I donated not to pat on my back, but a decent amount of money to like the Barstool Fund to help out with the businesses and stuff like that, because I felt terrible for all these small businesses. Where's all these fucking lefty people? Like, again, they're championing almost the shutdown of these fucking small businesses, and they're rooting for Target. Like, they're rooting for Target to win and Walmart to win, and Amazon. These are the same people who are like, big business is evil. I'm like, but that's who's winning.
Oh, they've become rabidly anti-small business. Like, they're like, small businesses underpay their employees and they don't pay people overtime. Like, they've become they flipped that narrative real quick, and they became rabidly anti-small business. And I mean, like, my small family business,
don't have brains, and they do what they're told, like drone bees. They do what they're told. They don't have brains.
Is it only that they don't have brains, or is it like, I almost feel like some of these people, like, there's something wrong with their soul? You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like they're not fully human.
Yeah. So this is something else I've noticed a lot lately, is a lot of these fucking, again, I'm broad brush painting here. Okay. So anyone listening is like, I don't do that while I'm on the left. Good for you, bro. Whatever. I don't care. I'm broad brush. Most of these fucking lefties, they first of all, government's their religion. They don't have, by the way, I'm not religious, right? But like,
government's a religion of the left and the right now. So.
Well, okay, yeah, you're right. But I mean, they really worship, for fucking God's sake, like this, like the whole COVID regime, right? Most lefties are like, oh, COVID regime, like they bow down, like they worship it, like that. So they don't look up to anything else. So that is their God. So they do as they're fucking told. Number one. Number two, a lot of these fucking people, they're not real fucking friends. Like, they don't have real friends. Like, they don't, like, their friends are very fucking shallow. They don't have, a lot of them they fucking move to the city. They live with 6 or 7 other people. They move away from their family, and they're very much like, this is how it's supposed to be. And like, that's bad, I think. And again, I'm not a super big family guy. Like, I have my own issues with my mom and stuff like that. I'm just saying though, like, they just take it to this weird level of like, this is how it is, and you guys are dumb for doing it your way, and you guys are dumb, and you guys are part of the problem for living in the suburbs. You have to be poor and live. No. It's like, no. I have money, and you're just fucking mad you couldn't figure it out. So instead of you being like, oh, let me try to work to better myself, it's like, no, I'm going to tear down everything around me because I don't have anything to look up to. All my heroes I tear down. That's what they think. As instead of looking up to people like we do, and I hate the word hero, but like I aspire to people. I'm like, oh, I aspire to that. I think there are heroes, but they're far and few between, and I feel like they just tear down all the, like, oh, that's stupid to look up to people, like, unless it's a state. Yeah. And that's like the left in a nutshell. It's like, that's their thing. So if you're outside of that, they're like, oh, you're evil. It's like, no, I just have a fucking brain, and I give a shit about what I do, and I give a shit about my craft, and I try to better myself, and I try to better my family, and I try not to fucking worry about what you think about me.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a product of the education system. The self-esteem movement, where you can't ever have critical or even constructive criticism because of the threat that it will have to their self-esteem. Like, I read that there's schools that are ask parents if a kid has a bad report card, if they want to have their kid get a different one with good grades on it so that they feel good. And you match that with they're trained to look to authority to solve every problem. Don't solve it yourself. Don't talk to each other. Don't get in a fight. You'll get thrown out of school. So don't handle anything yourself. Come to get your thing solved, and it will praise you for it. So that attitude is carried over into their adulthood, where they look for their affirmation from their authorities by complying and by channeling, and that seems to be where it comes from. And they agree. Lost their their rational, logical, self-reliant functions in place for these obedient, subservient traits, where they were just showered with affirmation, that's like almost like drug like.
Yeah, and when you don't subject kids to that, like we're homeschooling my kids, and like my oldest is 6, and already I see in him how he's so different from people who are put in the public school system, because like he just naturally questions authority, not
Yeah,
in like a hostile way, but just like I
yeah,
don't want to just listen to this because you told me to. I want
yes,
to listen to this because I want it to make sense. I want to be convinced it's the right thing to do.
yeah.
And let me tell you, that's not always easy as a parent. Like it's easy. It's easy. You want your parent like, hey, just shut up, kid. You know what I mean? Like, stop back talking me. It can be really like challenging, because like your
Right.
kids aren't stupid. Sometimes as parents, like you just tell them,
No,
go do this, or no, you can't
yeah.
do this. And they're like, why? And you're just like,
I don't know,
and
man.
and you're like,
Well,
and then like, you know
well,
what?
that's
I don't
yeah,
know. I guess
that's
go
the
do
most.
it. Like I'm just being stupid. I'm sorry.
I think that reveals the most like nefarious part about the school system is that like young children are very capable of rational decision and like critical
Mhm.
thinking, and far beyond those who have been all the way through the school system to the end, where they have become the obedient little you know uh, subservient serf, really. And but children, they're like, my daughter's 4 now, and like watching her like figure out things, and, like I look at some of the people that I've worked with, younger kids, and she's just so much more capable of rational decision making than
Oh yeah.
entire wave of 20-year-olds.
And if I can go like on a little tangent here, like my own people, Christians, oftentimes feel like they have to tell their kids and stuff like the Bible says to respect authorities. You got to always listen, respect authority. I'm like, I don't know. Did Jesus respect the Pharisees?
Dude, loved
Did
hookers.
Jesus respect Rome? Did Jesus like? I was like, I think you should respect legitimate authority.
Yeah,
And what makes authority legitimate? Is it
yeah,
just because someone claims it, or is it because they earn it?
yeah.
And like, I'm not against natural hierarchies, and like like those who display and prove like authoritative competency in various spheres within like the marketplace, right? But like you earn that authority. Like Dave Smith earns the type of influence and authority he has within like the Mises caucus and like those who are working together in it, because like he's earned it, because like he's shown that he can get the job done. He's not
Well,
just asserting like you guys have to listen to me because if you don't, you'll go to jail. It's like, no, you guys, like, we want to listen to guys like Michael Heiss, like Dave Smith, like Tom Woods, not like with zero compulsion.
yeah.
They have assumed these roles of authority through the natural meritocracy of
Yeah.
acting with competency within the marketplace, and competency leads to natural authority. And so this lesson isn't just for Christians, it's for everyone. It's like, I'm not anti-rules. I want there to be rules and laws, because I think you need rules for there
Nerd,
to be
nerd, nerd.
My
Fucking
daughter's
no, I'm kidding.
my
Well,
daughter spits at the police when she sees them. So.
well, yeah. Well, I mean, me too.
Well, no,
But it's like I'm
murder's a good one. You probably
here's
shouldn't
the thing.
murder
Like
and steal.
I'm pro peace, and for
Mm.
there to be peace, there needs to be cooperation, and cooperation is built upon voluntary agreements. And there is a Mises talked about this, Rothbard talked about this. There is a kind of like a private system of laws that develops within a free market environment. And
Mhm.
it's just the state has hijacked these words. And like
Well,
remember what Dice talked to us about in PA, like defend language, and like the
You said
state has
defend
so
language, Joe.
yeah, he said defend language, and the words order and law have been hijacked by the left and by the state
Yeah.
to be conflated with like and it's like let me tell you something. Is it really like, remember that people say like taxation is the price we pay to live in a civilized society? It's like, is it really civilized to threaten violence against people to comply? Like, is that really
Again,
is
they
that
don't
really
see it that
order? Is that
way.
really
They don't see
peace?
it
Is that really?
because
Yeah.
they justify it
So
by you not doing your part for the
so
civilized society that they think they live in. Like that's what I'm saying. It's hard to break their dumb fucking shield.
Jacob, this is something that I spoke with you about that night at Grant's, and I actually spoke with Mike Heiss about this as well. Is that I hold the market and its self-regulatory, like inherent mechanisms in such high regard that you and I got in the same conversation with Mike that a lot of Christians wonder if you didn't have faith, if you didn't have a moral compass, like a deified set of virtues, where do you find your moral compass? And I don't know if you remember, I said that I if you understand praxeology and what Mises really meant by the action axiom, and all behavior all action is based on means satisfying ends. The market
Mhm.
in itself, it provides all of the moral signaling that you need on how to order your life, because uh, what did the Industrial Revolution tell us? When you serve other people, it serves you the best, and you have the highest returns, and productivity grows up all across the board. And so the market in itself like guides these things, and I think we really underestimate the market's inherent mechanism of self-regulation, and how morally superior it is to any possible central designed um, initiative.
I agree. Because we're gonna wrap up here soon, but before we do, I wanted to answer this one commenter's question. I know this guy personally, but he said, "Will the MC protect me from statists who want to force me to get a vasectomy?" And you could really put that, I mean, like, vasectomy, jab, like whatever, might be both. Those might be the same thing, but some people wonder. Like, I know where Rob's coming from. That's his name. He, like concerned, like, we're playing these politics game, but like, are we going to be able to provide any kind of protection for people if the state gets more authoritarian and starts forcing these things down their throats? I have my opinions on like why I think the answer to that is yes, but I was curious if you guys wanted to take that first.
Guns. Use guns.
Wait, I'm sorry. Are we answering this question specifically, or if
Yeah.
the free market provides protection for?
Well, I think he would agree that in a true free market society, like the free market can come up. But I think he's asking specifically because some like I know where this question's coming from, so I guess I get it because he's someone who like likes the Mises Caucus, but is also like, but I kind of feel like we have to sort of like look at the GOP as a vehicle to like fight for our rights now and
What
hold
happens if
off
I
the
want
left
him to get a
now.
vasectomy, though?
Yeah.
What happens if I want that to happen?
Well,
What do I say?
well, the Mises Caucus won't protect you from a vasectomy, but if you understand what we advocate and mean by the term self ownership, and the absolute necessity to defend everyone's and the collective ability to defend self ownership, then yes, talking about will protect you from somebody forcibly giving you a procedure.
All right, will
Because
the GOP stop you?
right,
No
if
one
you
stops. No
own
one stops
yourself,
shit. It's
right,
crazy.
if you own yourself, any force against you is the violation. So if that's our whole thing, and the collective force is only legitimate to defend against the force against them, or another person. So yeah, that that
Here,
seems to be the only way.
here's my answer.
Mass
Mass non-compliance, and the Mises Caucus promoting these ideas, building a culture of people united under a banner,
Yeah.
and collectively giving the state the middle finger and working together to not comply, to nullify these things at the local level.
Mhm.
That is where we can actually combat statism and stick to our principles and build a culture that, again, because like the way I've been saying it lately is a lot of people get caught up in these high time preference games of wanting to oppose the left and oppose the state. I think the Mises Caucus is an entity that is actually has strategies that are both aimed at a higher time preference where we are combating what's happening now, but at the same time, those efforts are building into a long-term strategy that is based in a lower time preference of, not wanting to just sell out and all, like, completely sell out on just like, well, everything's about the here and now, so let's just go with the lesser evil.
Yeah. Well, it's getting the understanding the concept that satisfying your high time preference desires in the long run undermines your future ability to make the same high time preference decisions.
Yeah, I just wonder, for the people, like, I know people are like supporting DeSantis and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't have any way to prove this other than just like looking at history, but like people think he's some big defender of liberty right now, and I was like, yeah, well, what happens if he becomes president? You think he's not going to get corrupted by those power structures and become an even bigger oppressor than probably Trump or Biden has been? Like, that's what history tells us.
Yeah.
Well, Tom said it perfectly that he did a great thing at a time and deserves a recognition for it, but it doesn't have its limits. But
all right, boys. Well, this was a fun conversation. Thanks everybody for tuning in and watching. Did you guys have any final words before I close this out?
No, shout out again to Virginia folks. That was fucking fun as fuck. And everyone else, come out to more shit. They're fun. We're gonna do more, hopefully.
Adam, you have any shows that are coming up you want to plug?
Yeah. Hold on. October 15th. October 15th, Chalfont, PA, right outside of Philly. I'm opening up for Aaron Berg, who's a great fucking comic. You guys know him from Compound Media and all that shit. droptent.com/events for tickets. And I got other stuff coming up, but I want to plug that. That's immediately coming up. Oh shit. Oh no, it's not true. Immediately coming. I'll be in Texas with Robbie Bernstein and Kyle Ruff this week, Saturday. Lockhart, Texas, coming out. I think it's like the post Renegade University party, whatever the fuck they're doing. I don't know.
Okay.
But coming out to that, again, tickets, droptent.com/events.
Cool. All right. Rob, anything else?
Just go out there, do your part, and break some laws.
Oh, yeah. I got Joe's wife fucked up. I roll with good weed. That's, I tell you guys out up front. So
I'm still a weed virgin. We need to fix this next time we get together.
Are you really?
I'm really.
I've definitely offered you weed before.
I'll take your innocence.
Yeah, I'll pop your.
You just take my virtue.
I'll take your virtue. I'll take your butt virtue. I'll take your weed virtue. I'll take all of it.
Let's do the weed virtue first, then we'll talk about.
We'll see.
No.
We'll see.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Enjoy the rest of your nights, and we'll be back at it soon.